This is the 2025 F-150 XLT. It's the #1 selling trim level of the F-150. And in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about it. In this video, I'm going to give you a deep dive into the XLT trim level. This is a part of a series where we've covered vehicles like the XL and the STX that's directly behind us. So if you haven't had a chance to see those vehicles in those videos, make sure you do that because you might find a trim level that's a little bit lower or higher to fit your needs. And I'm gonna have time cards all the way at the bottom so that way you can pick around and see exactly what you wanna know about this new F-150 XLT. It's an interesting trim level, and I'll start off with that because it is the #1 selling truck, but it is also the #1 rebated F-150 in existence. If you want a rebate, the largest one you can get, the XLT, is going to be the trim level for you. In fact, these things are going for crazy amounts of discounts, and you can check them out at alabamaford.com down below. But I want to get back to the truck itself and show you a little bit about what we're looking at. First off, you'll notice you've got the power dome hood is what Ford calls it. And it kind of gives you enough visibility out of the vehicle when you're driving it, but it also looks nice and aggressive on the outside. But because this is an XLT, you are still dealing with what Ford calls their coast-to-coast grille. The idea is that the grille comes all the way to this side of the coast, all the way over to this side of the coast, and it actually surrounds the headlight as well. Now this one happens to be a loaded up version of the XLT. In fact, this is going to be the #1 way most people will spec out an XLT. There's quite a range in different options available. You have a 301A equipment group, which is a base version of the XLT. Then you have a 302A equipment group, which is what you see here. Then you even have a 303A equipment group, which is like the luxury version of the XLT. And in this video, I'm going to kind of give you a deep dive onto every one of those and show you deeply what is going on with this 302A equipment group. But moving right along, you'll notice because it's got the black XLT appearance package, that you've got the black painted grille that goes all the way across, as well as the black painted located right here. In my opinion, I love this grille. Now I do like the Lariat grille a little bit better. I like the trimmer grille a little bit better. But the problem is there's a price difference. And so the question is how much more do you actually like it? So moving right along, you'll also notice that we have a color matched front bumper on the upper side and the lower side with black accents down below. Now this one is a 4-wheel drive, so you've got tow hooks up front. And to me, I just think it completes the look. As far as the tow hooks, the black, the gray, if you pick the right color on the F-150, it really does look nice. And it matches up with their brand new Ford logo, which is actually black and white now for one of the very first times ever. Ford has not been historically very much interested in changing from the blue and the chrome. Now they're finally getting into some different colorations on that iconic Ford logo. Now, let's take a look at the wheels and tires. Goodyear Wrangler 275/65 R18 tires. They're an all-terrain tire because of the package that you have set up here. But my favorite part is actually wrapped in an 18-inch wheel. So keep in mind that if you're wanting a massive wheel and a tiny little sidewall, this is not going to be the truck for you. Or you can rely on companies like us, TC Customs, to swap out the wheels and tires for this vehicle. Now the suspension on this truck is going to be nearly identical to the other two trim levels we found below us, which is the STX and then the bottom of the barrel. That sounds so bad, but the XL, which is the base trim level, STX, XLT, they've all got the exact same suspension system. The only difference is whether you get a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive. Now moving right into here, you can see the F-150 fender badge is XLT branded now for the first time, and you'll also see that it is a painted gloss black because of that XLT black appearance package. Notice that on the XLT, you don't have a painted mirror cap. You also do pick up the painted door handles for the very first time ever. So if you like the look of the STX and you say, oh, I just don't like those unpainted door handles, the XLT is going to be the trim level for you. You'll also notice this little button right here. It's got a lock icon on it. The reason I'm showing that to you is because this vehicle has intelligent access with push button start. Basically what happens, you walk up to the vehicle, it knows you're walking up to the vehicle and it will illuminate automatically. But the second you stick your hand in the door handle, before you can ever pull on it, the truck automatically unlocks. But what happens when you're getting out of the vehicle and you want to lock it? That's what that button's for. You just press that button and walk away, and as long as the key is in your pocket, it'll automatically lock the truck right away for you. Towards the back of the vehicle, you'll notice there's a big old piece of plastic. Ford calls that a stone cuff. Now, I actually think it's probably going to help with aerodynamics a little bit to kind of churn up that air, but Ford is saying that is designed to try and kick some of those rocks down instead of hitting the tire from the front end of the vehicle. But you'll notice back here, we've got the same set of wheels and tires. It's a squared setup. We're the same size in the front and the rear because of the four-wheel drive. But the reason I wanted to bring all of this up is because in the rear of the suspension, this is what makes this F-150 a truck. So first off, you have a steel frame, not just a steel frame, but you actually have a fully boxed steel frame for extra strength and rigidity. This is a lot better than some of the other trucks out on the market that have tried to design their frame off of aluminum. Let's keep talking a little bit more about how the suspension and everything works back here. This is a leaf spring setup. Basically what you have is you have a big spring that runs this way, but it's set up to have dual spring rates. What do I mean by that? When you're just riding around on the vehicle, no problems, no payload in the back of the vehicle, you are riding around on effectively the lighter spring rate. It gives you that better ride quality when you're just putzing around town. But when you put a load in the bed of the truck or a massive trailer out back, once that suspension starts to go down a little bit, now it's engaging the second spring rate, which is a lot higher and made for the towing and made for the hauling. It's actually a really smart setup that Ford has thought of on this truck. And the shock absorbers are mounted outside of those leaf springs to give you as much leverage as you can to make sure that that rear axle isn't hopping all over the place the second you hit a pothole. So Ford has really thought this thing all the way through to make sure you can actually work out of this truck. This is another reason the F-150 XLT is the #1 selling trim level of all of the F-150s. And that's because you have quite a few different options on your key fob. Yes, the intelligent access that we talked about just a second ago, but you have the ability to remote start your vehicle with the key fob. In the previous 2 generations, you have to use your smartphone app to remote start the vehicle. But in addition to that, you even have the ability to drop the tailgate with the key fob itself. All you have to do is double click that tailgate and the tailgate will drop down nice and smoothly. After dropping the tailgate, it made me realize Ford has at least 3 different tailgates for the F-150s. You have the base one that has no tailgate step in it. You have this one that has a tailgate step built into it, which is actually really nice. And then you even have another one up higher than this. That's going to be found on the higher trim levels, and that's called the Ford Pro Access tailgate. But it is nice that you still have the ability to get in and out of the bed of the truck pretty daggum easily with no concerns or questions. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a really good system. You'll also notice that the tailgate that we have here even has C-clamp channels, so that way you can bolt a piece of wood down, it's not bolting it, but you can clamp a piece of wood down to the tailgate and saw it off if you want to. In addition to that, you even have the ability to measure off the wood and basically mark it up however you need to. But you might be asking yourself, okay, well, I can mark it up and I cut it, but I don't have a way of cutting it. Actually, yes, you do. Take a look over here. This is going to be the Pro Power Onboard. Now, there's a couple of different versions of this, and it depends on what engine that you get. Now, this is the 3.5 EcoBoost, which gives you the normal 400-watt outlet in the back of the vehicle. Now, if you upgrade the vehicle to a 3.5 Power Boost, you can have actually 7.2 kilowatts of continuous power cranking out of your truck. It basically turns your truck into a giant generator. And so if you're interested in a truck that can actually maintain and hold down a campsite or a job site or a tailgate party, you might want to consider Power Boost for that reason alone. Because this F-150 is an XLT, you get a feature called zone lighting, which is awesome because it basically has the ability to illuminate the entire ground around you. And it does that with things like this. This tiny little light bulb will actually illuminate the entire ground behind the vehicle. There's lights in the side mirrors as well as up in the chimsel. If you didn't know what a chimsel is, that's the center high stop mount lamp is what Ford calls it. The rest of the world calls it a third brake light. But there's also lighting up there that allows you to illuminate the bed of the vehicle. And the thing that I didn't show you a little bit earlier in the bed of the vehicle is you have 2 more LED lights towards the back of the vehicle that illuminate inside of the bed of the truck. So you can literally light up your entire campsite, your entire work site, while you have the truck using as a generator. This is a truck that Ford has thought through and through to make sure you can actually live and work out of it, not just drive it to and from. On the inside of the F-150 XLT, this is really where you're going to start noticing some massive differences between the vehicles. For starters, no more switchblade key like we had in the STX. Now it's just a push button start. So if you're a woman and you have a purse, or if you're a man and you keep your keys in your backpack or whatever it is, you don't have to go digging around for your keys every time you want to crank it up. That's a really nice feature. You'll also notice here we've got dual air conditioner. So that way, if I'm hot, I can set my temperature to 64 degrees. My spouse can set it to, let's say, 70 degrees, and then everybody is happy. Every trim level prior to this is going to be a single zone climate control. But you'll also notice there's two more dedicated buttons. You have a heated seat in the front two seats. And the cool part is Ford gives you the ability to have automatic temperature on. So that way the truck can tell if it's cold outside and then automatically apply the heated seats. So let's keep talking about what do we have up here. Now, this is the first time you've noticed we've got a shifter here for the center console. Now, you'll also notice that this is a new feature, not for 24, and 25, but you do have the fold flat console right here. The problem is that if you don't get the mobile office package, you don't have this component that flips forward. This one's not equipped with it, so you just have a traditional center console. So I kind of don't know why they gave everyone the ability to fold that shifter flat, but then you still have to pay for the part that flips. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but Ford's packaging, I'm sure there's got to be a reason behind it. Now, I want to show something that is a massive difference between 24 and 25 on the XLT. So for 2024, in the past, if you got a 301A equipment group, you still had a switchblade key. It was not the push button start. But when you'd step up to the 302, you'd get the push button start. But the problem is that every one of those vehicles picked up Bluecruise. Now for 2025 model year, if you get a 302 or a 303A equipment group, whereas it used to be standard, it is now available as a no-charge option for the Bluecruise trial. Keep in mind, if you order a truck without the Bluecruise option, it will not ever have functionality for Bluecruise, period, end of paragraph. So you want that, you gotta make sure that you order it. The reason that was a big deal is because of customization. As you know, TC Customs were all about customizing vehicles, lift kits, lower kits, all that kind of stuff. And for years and years, we would refuse to modify the suspension on any vehicle with Bluecruise equipped. Why do we do that? Liability concern. But now we've got companies like Roush Performance and BDS Suspension and Zone Off-Road. They are now claiming publicly on their website that that lift kit or that leveling kit now works with Bluecruise, which means we are now able to help you modify your vehicle with Bluecruise. So in the past, it mattered whether you got the Bluecruise or not. If you wanted it customized, now we can do it regardless. Another couple notable features on the XLT that you don't get on the STX is, check this out, power seats. Yes, sir. You can actually power tilt and power slide, as well as angle the seat exactly like you want. The fact that you can do this is a whole lot more better. That made me sound like I'm from Alabama. But if you're a taller guy like me, being 6'3", I need somewhere for my knees to go. And so being able to adjust the tilt of the seat bottom would by itself mean that I would want to step from the STX into the XLT. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, I want to kind of go into the technology of this vehicle, but if you've seen the other two videos in our series, then this might be a little bit redundant. So feel free to skip forward just a little bit if that's something you want to do. But you've got a 12-inch massive infotainment system here and a 12-inch instrument cluster located right here. You have full functionality to your engine coolant temp, transmission temperature, your engine oil temperature, everything. Because it's a digital gauge, you have access to just about everything you would need right here. And over here, you've got wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. What more could you want? Now, you do have a couple of household outlet plugs here, as well as a 12-volt outlet here. In the previous versions of the vehicles that we've looked, this was actually a dual USB-C port, but because we've got the 400-watt inverter on board, you can actually plug in a household laptop or something else that you want right in here. It's amazing. And you've got USB-C and USB-A located right here. And in the center console, you do have dual USB-Cs, so you're not really losing much when you step up to the XLT. As far as ports, you've got enough power to plug in and charge just about anything that you need. In the back seat of the F150 XLT, the same cloth that you have in the front is back here as well. And it's the same setup as far as how the seats function as the STX that we looked at a little bit earlier. Now, the downside to this vehicle is that if you're wanting heated seats for the back seat passengers, you actually have to step up to the Lariat trim level to get that back seat functionality. And so that's kind of a bummer a little bit, but that's okay because you still have plenty of options to power all of your devices located here in the back. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, you've got cup holders all over the place. This is a very, very family-friendly vehicle. Now let's take a look at the engines that you can get on the new F-150, and we're going to start with this one. This one has the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, which is a V6, and it has twin turbos, one on either side. Now, the other couple of options that you have on the XLT, depending on how else you equip the vehicle, you come standard with a 2.7 liter V6 twin turbo. Then you have the 5.0 V8, and believe it or not, the 3.5 V6 is the most capable engine that you can get in an F-150 as far as towing capacities are concerned. The towing capacity on this engine is insane if you equip the rest of the truck properly. But once again, all three of those engines are fantastic. I do lean a little bit more towards the 5.0, number one, because I'm a redneck and I like exhaust sounds. But number two, if you ever wanted to add a significant amount of horsepower, you can do that a little bit later with TC Customs in a 705 horsepower supercharger from Roush Performance. And with that said, I'm curious to know what you think as far as the XLT is concerned. Do you think this truck, as equipped, is worth $57,000? Let me know down in the comments below, because quite frankly, it's not that much more money compared to the STX that you have behind it and the XL that we have behind that as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you give us a call today, because we can actually order these trucks for you at invoice pricing minus any rebates that you have applicable to you. So give us a call. The phone number is right there on the screen. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Peace.